Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Take a tablespoon of your sea moss and get on up.
Get up.
First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn my headphones up.
Check 1 2 1 2.
1 2, this thing on.
What's up, radio listeners?
Radio listeners, YouTube watchers,
Hey,
chat chimers, Facebook folk,
frequenters,
everybody.
I talked to some ghost listeners yesterday. That was pretty cool.
Okay. Talked to some ghosts yesterday.
Yeah.
They said,
Y'all ready?
Bobby.
Y'all ready for a case of the Mondays? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're listening to a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners.
Boogie on down.
Chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, everybody in the house. We appreciate everybody getting up early this morning on the Monday.
Man, to be top. Especially the West Coast listeners, man. That's dedication. We gotta acknowledge that, man. Pops, you know, sometimes Miss Willie Williams comes in, tunes in with us from Arizona.
Yeah. Pretty early.
Yeah, man.
Early. I remember when I went out there,
Yeah,
trying to do the show from there, I was like, I gotta get up at 3:30 now.
Man.
It's crazy talk.
Remember we did it from San Fran, from the hotel?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
Rough.
That was very rough. I talked to a ghost listener. It said, I'll check it out a little later on in the day because I don't believe in the concept of time. I was like, that's what's up. That's what's up, though.
But I know you're listening.
Using it against us a little bit, but that's what's up, though. Pop says, good Monday morning to the crew and fam of First Sky Omaha. Good morning to you, Pops. Appreciate you. Leia Keister says, marvelous Monday to all. That's what's up. Wanda Lewis, don't let that sea moss get you. Got to be quicker than that.
Sea moss, man. I'm trying to drink it fast because you know that taste feels like I'm licking the fish every time.
Oh, bro, I found a black-owned company that puts it in the powder with some vanilla and some other stuff. That sea moss shake gets down.
This tastes like it's fresh out the sea.
Yeah, you chewing on the moss.
Yeah.
Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning from Facebook. Get your sea moss though. Dr. Sebi said get busy.
Hey man, shout out to brother Carlos Bay, man. I had actually sat in on a presentation yesterday. Got some sea moss samples. Yeah man. Man, the Moorish chef. Shout out to brother Carlos Adams Bay.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, learned about cellular health.
Yes.
Got he said what 100 trillion cells in the body. You gotta feed them. So yeah. Learning some things. Health is wealth, y'all. Health is wealth.
Love it. Do us a favor, share the show if you're on Facebook, YouTube. I just reminded myself I told a couple people I was gonna send them a link and forgot, so I'm gonna try to do that.
Tell a friend, man.
Tell a friend. Share the show on your page if you can. Judy Prinzler gives us a good morning, friends. Good morning to you as well. Oh, by the way, shout out to the 630 crew. Let me know how the mix was this morning. I went out to breakfast with Jonathan Benjamin Alvarado and his wife Beth, my big girl and big sis.
Nice.
Yesterday, they were out in California doing something. They were like, "Yeah, it's too early to get up and watch the show when we're out in California." I was like, "Yeah, I don't blame you." It's early. Pops changed his
Again,
whole sleep schedule around so he can get.
again, shout out to the West Coast listeners, man. Pops, you the MVP, man.
Yep. And more, and also with that, we got about 4 or 5 Hawaii listeners still
Man,
that don't even go to sleep. They just stay up all. They just stay up till 2, 3 in the morning and get on and check it out.
okay, this the nightcap.
Shout out to those, yes. But you can watch the show in its entirety if you miss any parts of it. And if you don't really have too much of a desire to get on and join the conversation, I mean, we encourage you to do that always. But we understand if you are a ghost listener as well, we just want to listen in and glean some information. Appreciate that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And watch it, any time that you want to check it out. You can check it out in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube. And check out the chat when you do.
Yeah, man.
I think that's where it goes down too, man. The chat.
A lot of things are going in the chat, man. Big shout out to all the chat chimers, keeping it real chatty, real chimey, letting the mind be free, letting the voice be heard. That's what it's all about.
How you doing, man? How's your weekend?
What did I do over the weekend?
Must be
Not
good.
much.
Can't remember.
Not much. Yeah, I didn't really do much, man. Just kind of chilled out. Watched some basketball. I feel like I was productive, but I can't remember what I did, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder what that means. It usually means nothing of note stood out.
Yeah.
Smoothly.
I didn't go anywhere. Usually I have like some adventure with the babies. Actually I did. We took the babies to free comic book day. Kind of.
Oh.
Yeah. I forgot all about that whole saga. But yeah. Went to go pay my car note and just stumbled across a big bouncy house in the middle of the road. And once the kids saw that, that was all she wrote. I couldn't. Like, hey, there's a bouncy house in the road. That looks like a party.
Subtle hints, huh?
Yeah. And my son hit me with the reverse psychology. Like, oh, we can't go over there, huh?
I like how kids do that. I also like how they say, how they do all that. What's that over there? You know what that is. You better
Right.
What is that?
Man. But we had a good time. Afterwards, I was whooped. So I think that's what it was, man. Afterwards, like the rest of my Saturday was done. I was just tired, boss.
Well, next time, don't get in the bouncy house with them. Just
actually, me and little mama, the littlest of mamas. I held her in my arms. She's not the lightest, but I held her in my arms and we ran around and played with bubbles. It was the cutest of moments. But yeah, I was tired, boss. That was the end of my Saturday. That was it.
Mama God says, "Good morning, First Fam. What's going on, Mama God?
Hey.
Appreciate you coming on in. Like we say, do us the favor, share the show. My weekend was pretty late.
Yeah, man. How was the Cinco de Mayo events?
I didn't make it.
Really?
I didn't, but I heard that everything was really, really great. The show went off with a hitch, but yeah, wasn't feeling too good. I thought I was coming down with something on Friday, but whatever it was knocked out in about 24 hours, so I was all good.
Well, yeah, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Saturday, I had a pretty hard day. I had to check out a memorial service for a mentor and a close friend of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Something about having to watch it on Zoom is worse than being there. It's real tough. So that was tough. But then I went out. I got myself out later on that night and had a really great night. So trying to find some balance, man. Everybody, a lot of grieving going on this year for me. So it's what I've been hearing lately though is the voices telling me. They all want you to go ahead and get out and live. Don't sit around down too long. So I'm trying to just do that and hang in there with that. Then yesterday, Sunday, I got to talk to the little man a little bit on the phone. We got to watch the lightning show last night over FaceTime and all that good stuff. So just kind of hung tight. Had to work a little bit, and like I said, went out to breakfast with Jonathan and Beth. And had a great time catching up with them. So shout out to them. They are absolutely friends of First Sky Omaha and close personal friends of mine. And I've been supporting since day one. Shout out to since day one, like mine and soul days too.
Man, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, man, definitely part of the fam. Also part of the early morning crew listening on the radio station. So definitely remember you can check us out on our website, firstskyOmaha.com. Click that listen button and go ahead and get the vibes, man. A lot of music, a lot of celebrations going on, and possibly some more new shows, maybe some old ones coming back. So stay on the lookout for that. We're definitely going to be updating that whole situation
Yes,
pretty
sir.
soon, man. So big shout out to everybody supporting. Paul B, what you got?
Well, I wanted to give a shout out to Miss Erica Felt, who's on right now. She says, "Good
Okay.
morning, Buddy. Made some great memories talking about your
Yeah, man. No
Saturday running
pictures
around."
though. I think we took. I think
Oh well,
they took
then,
one picture by the Ghostbuster stand, but
well,
no.
well, it didn't happen then if you didn't take no pictures.
Man.
Gwen Easter give us a good morning. Vicky Young give us a good morning with some sunshine. Did y'all get hit with that hail last night?
Man.
Let me know how the storm was if you're in Omaha. Miss Erica Fell says, I think the best way to honor amazing people we've lost is to live a life they would have loved seeing us live.
My thoughts
Yeah,
exactly.
on that tip.
Man. That's my
While we got
mama.
Miss Erica Fell on too, man, just let her know, go ahead and give her have a conversation with her. She's trying to fire up her child care business again. You know,
Okay.
we all know that she's a friend of First Sky Omaha. She's part of the First Sky Omaha fam. She went through some cancer and she's still kind of going through some treatment on that, and had to peel back a little bit on her business. But she's trying to get that fire back up, and this is the time now. We can help. We can refer some people to her. And also continue to help financially too if you can, man. There's still some transition to get through some of the bills and stuff like that in order to really get back to the business thriving. So she's doing it on her own, but as much as we can help as First Sky fam, let's do that. So if those of you that already have, you know what it is. We'll put her cash app in the chat if we can. Miss Wanda Lewis, I'm asking because you always have it handy. If you can put that in the chat for us, it'd be great.
Hey.
And yeah, let's keep on doing that.
Yeah, and
News Monday is
real
going
quick,
on. Mhm.
Miss Erica Felt, because I don't even know. So if you could drop
Mm.
the information for your child care center, just name, address, contact number,
Yeah,
email, if
or
that
just hit
that
her up. Hit her up.
yeah,
Those,
yeah,
those
yeah.
you know we're here on Facebook. Give her a shout out. And I think she's taking on some more kids and stuff like that too. So
Just
you
in
know
time for the
us,
summer.
we love the babies. Yeah, just
Oh
in
yeah.
time for the summer.
Yeah, man.
That's what it is, man. It is News Monday today, Monday the 8th of May
May.
already.
Yeah, man.
Can't keep track of it.
Zooming by, man. The year just started, but oh well.
Yeah. Hey, she's giving us an update right now. Miss Erica Fell says, "Thank you. My treatment is no longer going to affect this business." Heard that. She said, "Boogie is officially on my license, so if I have a late afternoon appointment, he fills in. He's always
Nice.
check that.
Nice.
Now that's family right there. That's what's up."
Nice.
And Wanda Lewis, thank you very much. Is putting Miss Erica Felt's cash app in there, so drop her a couple bucks so she can kind of keep those bills paid while she's getting the business back up and running.
There
We're here
you
to
go.
support. We're here to support business around here, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, man.
Really appreciate everybody's help on that.
Yeah.
Special.
I was just gonna jump into the topics. You kind of
Well, I
threw
was
me
gonna
an alley oop. Go
Yeah.
ahead though.
Oh, okay. I messed up the alley oop. That's what happened.
No,
I
sorry.
was just gonna mention that we had special guests coming on today.
Yeah,
Before,
yeah,
before we got too far into it, so we'll be speaking to Chris Baby Boy Bolin
yeah, man.
from the Reader, and lots to talk to him about for sure. Also,
Lots.
a guest that we had on before when she was over at Opera Omaha, Andrea Joy Pearson will be on today, talking about why she's not at Opera Omaha anymore, and her new venture, the new things that she's got going on right now too. She's looking to do some business, and hopefully we can find some
Man,
partnership situations with her.
yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Yep.
Find a get her the way to stay in Omaha, man.
For real. Yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
gym.
gotta keep the gyms in the states right
Yeah,
now.
man. Yeah, looking forward to that conversation. But yeah, man. Aside from the guests, we do have some topics to get into, and that's the alley oop I was going to get into, man.
Yeah,
Speaking
my bad.
of businesses, Miss Erica Feld or any other business owner in the chat, did you hear about this Black Business Expo, or did you go? Were you a part of that? Does anybody have any experience or stories about that? Paul and I were kind of talking. We haven't really heard much about it, so again, we'd like to talk about it. That's definitely something kind of in our wheelhouse, if you will. Again, the Black Business Expo went down over the weekend, so let us know how that went. And if you do have the information, also if you did anything over the weekend, let us know. Especially if you were able to make it to that Cinco de Mayo celebration in Benson. Definitely let us know how your experience was or anything that you got into over the weekend. Also, we have to get into this national news coming out of the state's legislature Something that we've been kind of talking about here on the show as far as the mass exodus, I guess you can call it now, from the Democratic Party. Now, Senator Megan Hunt, the latest to bite the dust, moving from the Democratic Party, not quite jumping all the way to the Republican Party, but choosing a more balanced, nonpartisan party. So, or I guess, is it even a party? She didn't quite register as independent, just more so nonpartisan. So,
Hmm.
yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. Very, very interesting. Big shout out to Sister Kimra Snipes for making us aware that not all political ideologies come the same. Everybody can pretty much be placed on a spectrum, not quite the boxes that we like to put each other in. So we're definitely gonna talk about that
Yep, yep.
coming up. Also, want to talk about what's going on with Fox News. It's kind of breaking. Of course, I think it's tied to the the lawsuit that went down, but maybe not. Maybe not. But we'll definitely get into what's going on with Omaha's Fox station, as well as three other Fox stations across the nation, biting the dust, man. So we'll definitely jump into that,
Yep.
and then also looking at what's going on. Uh, Excuse me. Am I freezing?
We can no
Okay,
no
okay,
this
okay.
we will let people know what's coming in. Let's go ahead and start the show up.
Yeah, I apologize. My screen froze. So let's go ahead and jump into it, see what's going on.
Yeah, another edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning. Appreciate you coming, and we'll see you right now. Tune in. What up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thank you very much. Shout out to Beth who just gave me a text too. Appreciate you. Love you too.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us on this News Monday. That is May the 8th, 2023.
Already, man.
Special guests coming on, Chris Baby Boy Bowling and Andrea Joy Pearson. We have some, stay tuned for them. It's going to be some great conversations happening. And we'll jump into some news that we got that we've been gathering over the weekends. And thanks to everybody who put news items in Friends of First Sky Omaha as well. It's always good to see what people want to talk about and hear what people want to talk about. So that's what's up. Before we jump out of here, though, Mama God said extensive eye reconstruction surgery this Thursday. Prayers going up for me, please. Send Mama God out some prayers on that surgery, and of course, anything that you need, let us know. Let us know anything that we can help with you as well. Miss Erica Fell says she's talking about her son Boogie. He's 17 now and has done more than the state requires. Heck, he was born into the play school. Had already been in business 5 years when he was born. So he was born into the scene, taking care of the kids,
Second nature.
taking care of the baby. So that's what's up. I'm glad you got some help there with your son. I'm glad he's old enough to be able to help with the business. Nothing like putting together family business and everybody contributing and bringing the money home to the house. Nothing like it. So appreciate you letting us know about that. Brother Muhammad in the chat, ain't seen you. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Walaikum salam, brother.
Excuse me. Yeah, thanks for everybody who's joining us. Once again, I want to ask if you're on Facebook or YouTube, do us a favor, share the show. Share the show on your page, and we'll get as many people in talking as we can. But before we get to our first guest, Buddy, what's on the agenda this morning?
Man, well, we'll kick off with this Black Business Expo. We kind of got into it, and again, just wondering if anybody heard about it or familiar with it. A friend of First Sky is actually behind it. Shar Shelton of the Minority Owning Businesses says it's an opportunity to keep wealth within the Black community. Talking about the event, and again, this has been going on apparently every other week. Black business owners and organizations meet at Matoya's Event Center. I believe that's right off Lake Street, not too far off of 30th. From makeup to shoes to baked goods, the Black Business Expo offers a variety of goods and services from entrepreneurs, both young and old. Again, Charles Shelton says the purpose is to keep the black dollar generating in the black community a little bit longer. Of course, she says, as we know, black people have a huge buying power, actually trillions of dollars of buying power, but our dollars don't generate in our community. At the expo, businesses and professionals like Tilly Porter, who's featured in this article, is an up and coming author writing about her life in North Omaha. And she says, for us to be able to help each other and anybody else that comes around, it's a blessing. I look at it as a blessing. So definitely, again, this is something we want to support. This is something we're all about here at First Sky Omaha. But just unfortunately, something we haven't really heard about, and that's definitely again being in media, being in communication in North Omaha. Something that we're always concerned about as far as again businesses, organizations, efforts like this, getting the voice, getting the awareness that they really deserve and need to be successful. So again, shout out to Sharp Shelton. Again, we consider her a friend of the show. You know, the Matoria event, the Matoria Event Center, they throw a lot of events in the community. But yeah, gotta get more information.
Yeah, definitely need more information. That's what struck me about that too. A shout out to I believe it was brother Tony who put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha.
Okay, brother
Just
Tony
asking
Johnson.
about Tony Johnson, just asking about what it's about, and how many black businesses are there actually, and
Mm-hmm.
is the black dollar actually really circulating? Because I know kind of anecdotally it doesn't feel like it is so much. It doesn't feel like there's a lot that can happen there. As a matter of fact, I think he even put the challenge out. Can anybody list? Can anybody list buying black only or going to black businesses as a sustainable deal? Can you do that and get everything you need
Mm-hmm.
in with black business in North and South Omaha or North Omaha in particular? So that's a good question, and no, I mean, there's no way that we can do things without having to go to the grocery store, which there's really no black owned stores there.
Yeah, not really.
There's a lot missing, a lot lacking, and I know like you said, shout out to Char Shelton and everybody who's doing something to try to push that, make that bigger,
Mm-hmm.
uh, encourage investment, encourage collaboration, so that we can have a network like that. I think that's a great thing. I hope that's what that is doing. But it brings the question back up. Can do we have some sustainability there? Do we have black businesses that we can count on that not only bring wealth to the area because of the actual business, but also provides the services that people around need, and can make that choice. So that kind of brings those questions up, and what can we do? If somebody's already on that road, what can we
Mm-hmm.
what can we do to help push that, build that up, pump that up as well? So lots to talk about. I know that you just mentioned something too, like information is number one thing in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
business that we're in. We're media, and as we can see in later articles that are coming out, media, especially local media, is going away even more. And so it's even more of a reason why what we're trying to do here with bringing information is so important. So we just do not have the outlets that we need. Omaha World Herald just won an award, but I'm not feeling the effects of how much information Omaha World Herald brings to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
so that's number one thing, and that's why we went the route we did with trying to run the business that we're trying to run. We're trying to bring black media to the forefront so we can be able to report on things like that and shine a light on business and everything
Right.
else everything else there is to do.
Yeah. I mean, aside from going to individual places and putting flyers out and maybe buying the ad with the boss. I mean, we honestly don't even do ads like that. So how can an entity advertise what they're like? What channels, of advertising are there really in the community? I mean, social media, but again, if you're not in certain networks or certain circles, you might miss that completely.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's a good thing to talk about outlets too. Now that we're
yeah,
we're we're,
yeah.
we're on that subject, because yes, you can go buy ads with 95.7 The Boss. You can buy ads with Omaha Star. We are starting our whole ads campaign as well,
Hmm.
which is reminiscent of what we were doing at Mind and Soul,
Right.
also with advertising. So we're doing that too. And there's going to be a video channel that we're about to launch that is going to have some more opportunities for that as well. And we partner with all these other outlets. So the Reader,
Mm-hmm.
El Perico, places that are going to be online, like Flatwater Free Press, for instance. Also, we're just starting a partnership with the Nebraska Examiner. So there's some outlets that we can get the information out at, but we also need to be penetrating the Channel 7s and Channel 6s and everything else that's out there. Oh, even Omaha World Herald, because the circulation of that is a lot bigger than a lot of the alternative papers right now, even though they're growing too. Just a little thing to say about outlets as well. Where do you get your information from? We've been
Right.
focusing a lot on social media because of a bunch of different reasons, but mainly it's the new word of mouth. So, so is that where you get most of your news from? Where do you get the information on businesses from, or resources? When you're looking for something, you got to Google something. What do you put in the? I'm always finding myself going black owned such and such in Omaha, and
Mm-hmm.
where is that? What does it lead me to? Not many
Yeah.
places.
I mean, we talked about putting together like black pages or some kind of directory of. I mean, even back to the Minus Soul days. I forget her name, but it was some assistant in the community try to put together some kind of directory. I think as much as we talk about them, the Empowerment Network, they have a directory, a kind of a
Hmm.
village map of businesses
Right.
that you can find in North Omaha. It's not quite up to date. They still have us listed as Minus Soul, but. Um,
Really?
yeah. I checked it. I checked it out. It's not quite up to date, but it's there. It's
Yeah.
there,
I
and some
mean,
of that information is still current.
and,
Um,
and to their credit, I mean, I believe that one is one you're supposed to be active and participating with as well, to
mm,
update your information and so on and so forth. So,
mm-hmm,
we'll need to do that. But yeah, you're right. Like there's so many iterations of people that are trying to put out directories, but you also have to talk about like what those directories are showing. Like, what are the actual black businesses out there?
mm-hmm,
Are there what are the businesses? Because I
mm-hmm.
remember us talking last year that black business had to move past just like body products and wellness products, and like there's
Yeah,
definitely a trend.
yeah.
We have to get to the things that are some of the necessary things, some of the bigger industry things as well, in order to be able to really capitalize there. So
Yeah, actually, rounding it back to the article, I've been to one of these expos at the Matoya. Have you ever been to the Matoya Center?
I've never been.
Yeah, it's like right off of Lake Street, a little past. I want to say a little before 42nd. I don't even think it's that far. More like 36th.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's actually not too far from the African American bookstore. It's like right around the corner.
On Lake.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. But I've been there. I've been to one of the business expos, and again, it is. There's several businesses there. There are people there walking through supporting. But to your point, there's like food. You might get like some treats, popcorn, or you know, pretzels, or something like that. There might be a few clothing vendors.
Hmm.
Um, somebody teaching kids how to dance. There's different things in the community that you want to support.
Hmm.
But yeah, we do need more doctors. We do need more dentists. We do need more insurance agents.
Or,
Um,
or or just places that we actually go spend the money. We be at Walmart spending the money, or the grocery store spending the money, the car dealership. You know what I'm saying? Like
mhm.
bigger structural businesses um, also are needed. I mean, those smaller businesses are needed too, and shout out to them. And we're always trying to support and everything there too. But at the same time, what kind of other industries can we get into here? You know what I'm saying? Like it's definitely necessary.
Mhm.
Real quick, Miss Erica Phelps says, sitting here thinking about being able to shop only black offhand, I think there are a number of black businesses, but not enough for choices or competition. There's also no black owned healthcare or blocks that hold all black businesses there. There is grocery, gas, business supply, early education, clothing. Okay, so there is some grocery, some gas stations, and so on and so forth. Katie Rain in the house. What's up?
Hey,
How you doing? How you doing?
hey.
Wanda Lewis says north of 35th and Lake on the dead end. Okay.
Yep. Literally
So,
right around the corner.
man, I wonder if I have been there. You know me.
Actually, it's right behind where Big Wave Studio used to be.
Okay, so I haven't been there. I haven't been to that place then.
It's like a big gym. It's like a big, looks like a big gym.
Kind of
It,
vaguely remember it. Yeah.
you might think it's a part of the daycare, but it's not. It's like it's its own
Ah,
thing.
okay. No, I haven't been in any events over there. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. They had I believe they had the Ernest Jackson event there.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, that's my neighborhood there. I mean, I got family that live around that area. I still go get
Mm-hmm.
my hair cut
Mm-hmm.
over there at
Oh
Drew's.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
It's
both the
right
barbershop.
behind.
Barbershop is a thriving black business still. I think Brigway's studio is still over there as well. So you know,
Okay.
spent a lot of time in that area, but I didn't know about that place. But I understand. I think I know where it's at now. Now that you've mentioned that. But yeah, shout out to them for really bigging up black business. I mean, that's you know, it was what's going to bring awareness. Us doing what we're doing. People like Char Shelton, who's putting events together,
Mm-hmm.
expos together.
Mm-hmm.
I remember speaking to Katie Rain, and how she used to she's always involved in putting some kind of expo together as well. I remember we did something with her over at Outer Spaces where she had
Man.
black vendors, artists, clothing makers. You know what I'm saying? Like those are also very important businesses as well. So, you know, we need all of it. We need the full range, and you know, we just got to keep on working to try to get that to make that happen.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So again, big shout out to anybody who was a part of this. If you have any information or if you ever been, let us know. Or if you never been, again, this is a recurring event. This is every other week at the Matoya Event Center. That's Metoyer. Maybe we'll drop a link in the chat. Again, let's support. We are wondering, what is the gap? What's going on? There events like these are happening, but there are businesses there, and maybe they're not like some of the businesses that Miss Erica felt are naming off, a lawyer or piano teachers, but they're still businesses in the community. So go through and support.
Yeah, I think we do have piano teachers, by the way.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I'm sure. I think we have all these things if we do just kind of look for it.
Gwen Easter says, I didn't hear about that expo, but wish I had because I and other daycares are competing with free OPS early learning centers,
Mm.
which is continuing to hurt my daycare business, Safe Haven Early Childhood Preschool Education Academy. I offer an early childhood preschool program and tutoring for school age struggling readers and dyslexic students in other fun educational activities and STEM projects. Yeah, man. We talked to her before about a lot of services that she provides too. Miss Erica felt too with the preschool, with her child care business as well. You know, there's not just watching kids; it's also education. There's a lot that goes into these spots, and then of course we always talk about how it's better when you have local people in the neighborhood who care about the neighborhood, who care about the neighborhood children. More mom and pop shop, grassroots, professional, but also community based businesses like that. I
Hmm.
mean, especially with the child care,
Yeah,
you want to make sure that your kids are somewhere where somebody you trust and some place you trust and close to home. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Marlon Harrison in the house. Good morning on
Hey,
Facebook.
yeah, okay.
Says we need more black doctors. You know how hard it is to find a black male doctor in Omaha? I
Man, I
do.
can imagine.
I do. I've been trying to find. I do.
Yeah.
It is tough.
Are you on the hunt?
I mean, I'm pretty satisfied. I got a black female doctor right now, so I'm pretty
Okay.
satisfied there.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm always on the hunt for black doctors, black teachers, black male doctors, black male teachers,
Yeah, man.
because they're so rare, but can be powerful if they're there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's just not enough just medical facilities, period, in North. All we got is clinics, man. Like, yeah, that's
for
yeah,
Omaha to be such a big medical industry
man.
spot, yeah, we definitely need more. And also, we got to mention too, black leadership. Just we've been reporting on people leaving positions of leadership
Mm-hmm.
forcefully or voluntarily.
Man,
But it's shrinking in a lot of different ways. Things are shrinking. But shout out to the ones that are trying to still hold it down. But like Brother Kenny McMorris, you know what I'm saying, over there at Charles Drew,
protect
you
that
know,
brother,
man,
man.
put him in some bubble wrap.
Man, but also we will be speaking. I guess you can kind of make that comparison to Sister Andrea Joy Pearson,
Yes.
who will be kind of getting the scoop on her departure from OPA. So yeah. We'll definitely be
No,
talking
not
to her.
OPA.
Oh,
Opera Omaha.
Opera Omaha.
Yeah.
My apologies. My
Yep. Yep.
apologies. Opera Omaha. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that conversation. But I do want to keep things moving. We do have some other topics to
Mhm.
get into. But keeping along the track, we are speaking of black business, and I do want to give a shout out to some partners of ours making some moves. A shout out to the brothers of Stable Gray, brothers and sisters, really, of Stable Gray. But they're also um, doing something different. Again, if you're not familiar with Stable Gray, they do a lot of video work. They're actually working with us on our new website, so definitely look out for that. Excited about that. But they're also working on something, a new spot on the Deuce, man. It's called the Network Spot, which actually just opened on Monday. It is a storefront north of Lake Street, and area and city and community leaders are working to revitalize. Again, we talked about Ames Avenue being ignored. But of course, the Deuce is getting a lot of love, and again, these brothers are right in the middle of it. Actually, literally in the middle of a design with a cozy and comfortable desk space and decor. The business located at 2516th North 24th Street is described as a co-working space with concierge service. Paul,
Mm-hmm.
it is a place where solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and business professionals can network and discover their next big idea. The promotional material says. Again, it's called the Network Spot. It occupies a bay in the same building as the Styles of Evolution clothing store and the Stable Gray marketing business. Again, it's literally right off of 24th and Lake. Of course, shout out to Carmen Tapio, who's CEO of North End Teleservices, who actually founded the business. She says the intent is to foster investment and entrepreneurship in North Omaha. She also says the venue is about providing something North Omaha does not have today. It is not only a co working office space, meeting, and networking space with all of the technology and amenities, it is also about a beautiful environment and experience. We want people to use the space and for it to buzz with business activity. So definitely shout out, shout out. Hopefully, we'll see some ideas come out of this and some good things come from this. It's kind of reminding me of really do space. It feels
Mm.
it's giving me do space energy on the north side. A lot of the creatives you might be familiar with, who've gone on to do other things like um shout out to the homie Chickadebia who's in New York doing big things. He will frequent do space a lot. Also, shout out to Shamari Huggins of Wakanda One. He was just out in Jamaica making moves, but he would be at Do Space a lot, and just a lot of people, a lot of movers and creatives from North Omaha. I remember running into at Do Space, and now that kind of feels like they don't have to go all the way out there. Now there's a spot right there on the Deuce.
Well, as far as that kind of stuff is concerned, there's going to be a lot of those because of
Yeah.
the library redevelopment. As a matter of fact,
Yep.
the new downtown library is about to open up. But because there'll be due space facilities even at the at the Washington branch and other places
Hmm.
like that. But this place gives me a little bit more of the vibe of a my not MySpace. What's those spots in what's those spots that were real popular in New York? So as a matter of fact, I remember brother Justin Wayne talking about some spots out in Atlanta like this. These are places where you can go work and network.
Hmm.
I can't remember the name of these places, but it gives me more of that kind of vibe. There'll be some resources there, but it's going to be more so for small business to kind of come and connect with each other
Hmm.
and spend a little time working there, just having a free space to go to be able to network.
There's a spot here called the Gathering Spot, which there's been a
Mhm,
lot,
yes.
lot of big events. Actually, I don't know if you remember, we were there when we were shooting that show for Fox Soul,
Hmm.
the Ministry show that they shot there.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of events. I think I think Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms has had some events there. Yeah, there's a lot of events there, but it is geared towards young, minority, millennial professionals.
Hmm.
It's a kind of a meeting place. But to your point, this is the start of a new wave, man. I think this is yes, this is not going to be. I think that's a good thing. I think
Hmm.
this is this isn't going to be an anomaly. This isn't going to be just by itself.
Right.
Not only will we have what's going on with the libraries, but also Senator McKinney, put some respect on his name, is pushing for innovation hub as a part of LB 1024, not just what's going on at the airport park, but again, he's pushing for an innovation hub for small business to come and have some resources to kind of incubate their ideas. So there's going to be a lot of these types of things popping up. Are
Hmm.
people ready to use them? That's really
Yeah.
are people going to support them? Is this going to be something that's going to open its doors for a couple weeks, a couple months, and then have to close the doors because nobody's walking through them, or will we see, kind of the vigor from the community?
Well, we're definitely going to try to be one of the vigorous community members. Anything that is pushing communication, because we're in the communication business,
Yeah, man.
communication and connection. We really want to be a part of, and because that's how we are able to find out what we find out, talk about the things that are important, and then discuss them with each other. So we'll definitely be checking that out. And plus, like we said, we're kind of partnering with Stable Gray and everything that they're working on as well. Really, really great partnership there. They're also looped in with the Julian Young advisory services there as well. So we've been getting our strategic plan done with Julian Young over there, and part of that strategic plan, part of that was, you revamp your look, revamp your identity, and so on, and they get right with Stable Gray to help you do that. So there's a lot of good connection within that ecosystem as well in order to really get your business from start to $1 million business with it, which they have with several businesses already. So that's what's up. Want to jump into the chat real quick before we get to our special guest coming up. Vaughn Chapman gives us a good morning. Good morning to you as well. Says black business, especially those who sell specific goods, should come together to buy from wholesalers to take advantage of discounted goods. This allows them to pass those discounts to customers. If they don't, they can't be competitive in the marketplace.
It's a good idea.
What it is, I feel like he's talking about as well, is this notion of investment, which is a step past, I think, even entrepreneurship, having a business. That when we're trying to make things better, the first thing we go to is let's open up a business, let's run a business, and that business has to start from scratch. It's a business that we've now created a job for ourselves in, and it's a business now that we're in immediate competition with other businesses because that's just the nature of capitalism and business. And when you start having an investor mindset, that investor mindset means that you can possibly combine businesses, step back, figure out how to combine those businesses to turn them into a bigger business, to be able to take advantage of stuff like he's talking about right here, wholesaling items and so on and so forth, and think of it like that. Instead of you creating this kind of a job for yourself, you can actually create a system in a conglomerate of businesses that are doing some similar things, merging. People, they do merges all the time in big business. But there can be some smaller merges going on, and we can all treat these things like investment, with the investment mindset, where we're putting money in and we're seeing how to make those systems work in order to get money back out. That would help too. But we all are starting from scratch. We're starting from, let's start a business. That's where you start. Man. So, hopefully we can get some. Well, we're going to Julian Young and those guys that are helping us get to that mindset. So that's what it's for.
Brother Von Chapman might be onto something though. Kind of got my mind going with that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Definitely jobs.
Guillermo Enrique Pena Valadares. Haven't heard his name in a minute. Good morning to you. Yeah, haven't heard from you for a while, bro. You coming in hot. Not enough scholarships for brown and black people. Where's the COVID money? Where's the tax dollars? First of all, where are you? Where have you been? Don't come back in here hot like forget. Man. This is we talking to each other like we face to face. It's not just a chat where you come in bombing some bombs
over Baghdad.
Things that's on your mind. Come in a little cooler, bro. How you been? How your family doing? What's going on with you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. All good questions though, but good morning. So that's what's up. McKimmer Snipes gives us a good morning as well. Mark Manor gives us a good morning. Appreciate you. Tony Johnson 12 comes in and says, morning, sorry late. No problem.
That's
no problem.
Right. It's all right.
Like I said, you can always go back and check out the show in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube. Sean McCarthy gives us a good morning all. Hey, family in the house. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for everybody joining us. It's 7:44 right now if you believe in the concept of time. And you're listening to a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
And guess what? It is what just happened here?
What is it? What is it?
It is News Monday. First of all, I'm like, man, the thunderstorms is messing with you and messing with me too.
I'm telling you, man. I don't know what's going on
right here. Yeah, we having a ghost in the machines for sure. With a friendly boo. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We got Chris Baby Boy Bowling waiting in the wings. It's going down? You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd.
Hey.
Right near the beach.
Small G.
And ladies and gentlemen, from the Reader, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Baby Boy Bowling in the house.
Hey, how's it going?
Top of the morning.
Good, man. How you doing, bro?
Pretty good. Just excited to be on this morning.
Yeah, long time no see, man.
That's good. Yeah.
How you been?
How you guys been? Oh, it's good. Let's see. Just working a lot at the Reader. I was in Kansas City this past weekend. I went to a jazz club in Kansas City, the Green Lady. Either of you guys?
I don't think I've been there.
Pretty
no,
cool. It's good to check. Like 2 levels, completely packed on a Saturday night with 2 bands playing at the same time, and it's like real deal, like jazz music. Good.
Wow. Hey, Chris, your internet's doing the choppy thing. Try to close down some windows on your laptop if you can.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Mark
Mark Banner.
Green Lady is awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Gotta check it out.
It's pretty cool.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Let me know if it gets any better. But just the beauty of living in an old
are
house.
a little clearer. No, you are a little clearer. Yeah. That helped a little bit.
We found that shutting down windows on your desktop really does help. That kind of makes things drag and jump as far as the internet is concerned.
Interesting. Huh.
Miss Erica says, "Hey, that's the journalist I like. I like that.
That woman."
Well,
there you go.
We're gonna jump into it, man, because we got a lot. You got a lot happening right now. I know Buddy's chomping at the bit to get to some of these stories. Let's jump in.
Yeah, man. We kind of went over a few things during the editorial meeting last week, and you sent us a few stories. Again, the issue just dropped on Thursday, so again, anybody who hasn't checked it out, definitely make sure you go check out the latest issue of the Reader. So yeah, just I guess let's start there. What are kind of some of the stories people can look out for, and what are you excited about in this issue?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. So I think you guys had Bridget on, and she was talking about energy efficient homes. So that's really I think that's going to be a series that we're going to be doing a lot more. So I'm super excited about that. But personally, so there's a couple different stories. I did a story about, if people don't know, we're doing we're a climate beacon, basically working with a group called Journalism Network, climate issues in a solutions way. And so, yeah, for this issue, I did a story about students doing stuff about climate change and fighting for like sustainability, but not the like, oh my God, the kids are going to like save the world type story. It's like, the kids are doing all work and they're not getting the same kind of effort out of, the adults in the room. So it was a super interesting story. I mean, there's a lot of positive stuff happening. Like they started, composting school lunches at Omaha South, which is the largest high school in Nebraska. So that's a huge, huge step forward. There's climate strikes. they are very, very, very aware of the North Omaha coal plant situation. And I thought it was kind of funny during their climate strike. Like that was a very major thing they talked about. And Eric Williams from OPPD was, I mean, I think he's also like for shutting down the coal plant, but they were just very no holds barred. Like we have to do this today. Like we are killing people. Like they're very, very hardcore. So the kids are definitely all right. So there's that.
Right.
Man,
Yeah, another story about I went to a drag show benefit at Tiny House Bar in Little Bohemia, and they were raising money to
they get
donate
down.
to organizations that work LGBTQ plus youth, and it's very centered around what's going on in the legislature right now with gender affirming care for minors, trying to ban minors from drag shows. Yeah, so those are the two major stories that I was working on. But then, yeah, last week there was a report that came out of the Nebraska Office of the Inspector General. They kind of oversee the prison system, and well, the accountability arm for the prison system, and, like recommend like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be doing this. I mean, not have to do anything they say, but it's good that at least someone is watching. But a report came out that prison staff Tecumseh had shot a an inmate about 200 times with different projectiles. So like rubber bullets, like bean bags coming out of shotguns, pepper balls. Um, and yeah, it wasn't the first time that it happened to this particular inmate, and it was a uh, the report said it was a extreme excessive use of force, and yeah, it was just a really interesting story. And I talked to the Doug Kopernick, he's the head of that office, and reached out to the prison system and just kind of just did a story about it, and it's kind of taken off a little bit. I think they read it on the floor of the Nebraska legislature. It's what I've been told. I haven't been able to see the video yet to confirm that that's true, but yeah,
Mm.
it's been a very busy past couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that prison story, that's not in the issue. That's online, correct?
That's just online, yeah.
Okay, okay. So you can definitely find that on the reader .com. I believe partners over at Nebraska Examiner also covered the issue.
Hmm.
But you were kind of talking about how again the information got out there. Can you tell a little bit about that story as far as the inmate and how kind of the higher ups, if you will, were tipped off that that actually happened?
Yeah, so the only reason that so basically the way it's supposed to work is that if a inmate is ever seriously injured, they're supposed to alert this accountability office, and they are supposed to look into what happened. So they were never alerted about this though. The Doug Kopernick, the head of this office, actually found out because he was doing a tour of the prison with a state senator, and the inmate like caught his attention and like waved him over, and he stripped down to like his underwear so he could show all these bruises and welts all over his body. This was also only 2 years or 2 months after the incident had happened. So 2 months later, he's still covered in bruises and welts.
Man,
And he basically, yeah, he just told him his story, and he's like, I'm in pain, and I think that this was wrong, and I want to stop this from happening to people in the future. And so yeah, it was shocking to hear them say like, oh, we didn't think these injuries were serious enough. I mean, he had rubber bullets embedded in his skin. He like was bleeding.
Man.
He had a broken finger. They didn't know he had a finger at the time, but I don't know. You can maybe say that that's more evidence that they just weren't taking care of this guy or not. But yeah, it was a very, I mean, it was just a jarring like report to read from start to finish.
That incident happened 2 years ago, and just so
Hmm.
I'm clear, what organization? There was the organization, independent organization that was the part of breaking that, right? Was the ones who we talked to?
Yeah. So the state of Nebraska has an office of the inspector general, which there's a couple different like branches of it, but this one in particular It's two people, and they oversee. They're kind of the accountability arm for the prison. So when something happens, like they've done stuff about riots that have broken out, or just different conditions, people can file complaints with them to look into things with the prisons. Um, but yeah, they can issue these reports, and they can and there's like statutory things where like the prison has to work with them, but the prison does not have to actually do anything that they say. So you'll
Mm.
often see they make recommendations that are pretty much not followed. But it's public pressure. It's raising like issues about things. It's increasing transparency and accountability. So it does have an. I mean, they think it has an effect long term, but yeah, as far as the immediate, like we recommend that you create a plan so that if somebody is known to have these volatile mood swings, that you have a de-escalation plan, and they can basically say like, oh well, we already do that, so it's fine, when they don't really do that. So yeah, it's a very interesting system.
Their de-escalation plan is 200 rubber bullets in somebody's back.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much over the course of I believe it was over the course of 5 hours. Yeah, 5 hours. So
Man.
mhm.
As far as who you've been, talking to, and what the reporting that you've done and what you've seen, what is being done about this? Again, we spoke to the senators. Senator McKinney did say he heard about this story.
Mhm.
Um, but as far as reforms, again, it's kind of uphill battle for them. Have you heard of anybody else doing anything or any other efforts to kind of stop this?
I mean, if someone's doing it, it's probably Senator McKinney, but
Mm,
or someone that he's working with. But yeah, I know that. So obviously, it's been a really like jammed legislative session.
mhm,
So I know that they kind of have talked about mental health in prisons, especially last Friday when they were talking about my story. But I think that there's just a lot that's not really understood about. We're operating like, this is just my understanding, and this is my summation of like what I've learned. So it could be not correct, but my understanding is that we're just operating at such a deficit um, in our prisons from a lot of different like angles, but one of them being mental health. So like back in
mm,
October, the same Office of the Inspector General put out a report that like we had extreme vacancies in behavioral health positions. So there's just not really a lot of behavioral health workers that are there for the inmates. They have to contract out a lot. Um, and so yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I did my downward spiral series that I've been on here talking about before about the relationship between mental health and criminal justice in Omaha and Nebraska. And yeah, I had an interview with some people from the prison system, and it was kind of just like hey, people say this about mental health in prisons. They say that you're warehousing people and you're treating them animals, and nobody nobody comes out any better than they went in. Like it only does more harm than good. And they're like, well, we
mhm.
totally disagree with that. And then the question is, well, how do you know people are getting better? And it's like, well, we don't really have any metrics that show that, but or they did, but they didn't provide them to me, and I kept asking for them, and they never gave them to me, and so it's just, I don't know. It's like that double speak thing where it's like, no, no, actually everything is going all right. And it's like, okay, well then show me that things are going all right. Don't. And then you have things like this happen, and then you wonder how many more things like this are happening. And I don't know. It's just mental health in general in Nebraska's criminal justice system is very confusing. But yeah,
Yeah.
especially in the prison system.
That actually kind of brings me. I don't know if you want to jump into the chat, Paul.
I just wanted to, yeah, some of the things that's going on in the chat are on different subjects. We're on a different subject right now, so I'll
Mhm.
bring those things up
Hmm.
later. But Amy H. did ask, which senator was touring when this incarcerated person said something?
It's a good
Yeah.
question.
Actually, I do know the answer to that question.
Oh,
I think it was Wendy DeBoer, because when they were
Mm,
talking about this on the floor of the legislature, like Michaela Cavanaugh read the story, and then Wendy DeBoer jumped in and was like, "Yeah, I was there, and like this is what I saw." Apparently, I need to go
mm,
back and look at the video just to make sure but this is what, like, a source of past of mine was like watching the legislature like live, and just like emailed out my story to a bunch of people. and then like 15 minutes later they were like reading it and all this very quickly.
Nice.
So very interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, there you go, Amy H. Dot. Looks like the board was there. But
I love being able to just like immediately answer somebody's question. Like that never actually happens. Like because people ask
Right.
good questions in the chat.
That's why we're here. And if you are following along with us in this conversation, then please ask questions that we're on the subject here, because it is a rare opportunity that we get to have Chris Baby Boy Bowling in the house to answer these questions. But that is why we're here. So we appreciate that. For everybody who has put questions in the chat, please continue to do so. More on this subject, buddy. Did you have on the criminal justice piece?
not necessarily criminal justice, but the other side of what we were talking about as far
Yeah.
as mental health. I know, Chris, you had mentioned that aside from climate change reporting, that the reader is applying for some health reporting or some things that might help with some health reporting. Can you speak to that as well?
Yeah, sure. Nothing's set in stone, but have you guys had Yenchi on from Flatwater talking about
Yes.
nitrates and stuff? Yeah. So she got a grant through the University of Southern California's Center for Health Journalism to work on that story, and she basically told me about it and was like, "You should think about applying." And I had done so much stuff about mental health in prisons that I was like, "Yeah, it seems like a good opportunity." So I applied for that. Basically, the idea, I have a lot of different ideas about what I could do with it, but I mean, it's not the most money in the world, but it's a little bit of money, which helps. The major one that I'm really curious, like, there's two. So one would be looking at how exactly mental health works in Nebraska prisons and jails to to some extent. Um, and that's just breaking down like how many people are actually getting the care that they are required to get. Like, just are we providing like the standard for any healthcare in a prison is that you're able to get the same level of care outside of the prison. Now you can't really get a lot of good mental health care outside of prison either, so I don't know if
Yeah, that
that
sounds like
impacts it. But so anyway, that's one
bar.
question I have. The other question I really have is looking at racial disparities. I have not seen any data from like locally and especially not at the state level about what the disparities look like around mental health, because I mean it's just kind of a suspicion just based on like what I know about other issues, but I have to imagine that you know access to care being there's just less access to care in minority communities generally. I know Justin Wayne was talking last week, I believe. They had that amendment put into the budget about studying PTSD in kids and how PTSD furthers problems later on in life. So I just have to imagine that that plays a big part, or that there's so I don't know. I don't really know what's there. I've never seen anybody talk about it, but I have to imagine that it's and I don't even know if I would be able to get it. I mean, trying to do records requests about healthcare issues. If anybody doesn't know what HIPAA is, it basically like it means a lot of
Man.
different things. But for journalists, it basically is like a huge roadblock to getting records about care information. So I don't even know if I'd be able to get anything. Part of the money is like we don't like have a lawyer on retainer or anything at the reader. So part of it would be like, I don't know how much like a First Amendment lawyer costs, but if we'd be able to like, request that and get that. So
Well, there's I know about some resources that can be used in those instances. But yes, we've run into this before. Just because of the privacy laws, it's hard to get that happening. One of the solutions has been to be able to, for word of mouth, talking to people who have been through it and asking them would they like to share their story.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where we've had to go with that. So I can understand that very much. Brother Valaderas in the chat says not enough nursing staff in prison or mental health access. He's also asking what programs are available in prison. I guess we can also go there too. We can say, well, we might not get information about the individuals that are in these programs, but what are the programs?
Yeah, that's such a tough question too. I guess probably had Flatwater talking about that domestic violence program. Did you guys have her on? I mean, if people don't remember, but basically, people were getting recommended to take or required to take this like violence prevention class or program at the Nebraska prisons, a program which the prisons did not offer. One guy who was to take it then went on to like kill his ex girlfriend. I
Hmm.
believe that was the
Remember that.
situation, or current girlfriend. But so anyway, yeah, that question is difficult, and they're actually, as far as I understand, that I haven't checked in on it in a while. UNO, their criminal justice kind of institute, got contracted by the prison system to do a analysis of the Nebraska prisons programs. And yeah, we'll see what comes of that. I mean, what they did in other state, the guy who's kind of leading it, he did this in Washington State, and what they were able to do was take every program the prison offers and do a cost benefit analysis. Like, this saves taxpayers this much money, and
Mm.
it's more about like incidental costs, like recidivism, what kind of services they're going to need afterwards, whether they have housing stability or a job, all these other things. So that's what they plan on doing with Nebraska's prisons, which would be like a gigantic step forward because I don't know. There's like, if you look on Nebraska prisons like website, there's like a long list of prisons they offer, and if you were to just look at that, you'd be like, wow, like we're doing an amazing job. But the real thing is that there's, first off, there's not a whole lot of staff to even
Yeah.
oversee the programs. Like, they really lean on people from outside the community to come in and not only run them, but get trained to be like COs, like correctional officers, so that they can run them without prison staff being in the room. So that's one
Mm.
thing. The second thing is that not all these programs are offered at every prison. Actually, like, a lot of these programs are only offered at one prison. So like, if
Mm.
you're dealing with a certain issue and really want to do this program, if you're not at the right prison, then you're kind of screwed, unless maybe you can get transferred. And then yeah, the third thing is just like what I just mentioned. Like, there are prison programs that they say they offer, but they don't offer them, and so it's just, I mean, any way you look at it, it's a huge, huge tangled mess. But I mean, I personally, I think like mental health is a humongous issue that is not talked about enough, especially in Nebraska and especially in
Yeah.
our criminal justice system. So I care a lot about it, and in reporting that past series I was talking about, I just talked to so many different families that were struggling with these issues, and they really appreciated being able to talk about this stuff because
Hmm.
it's just that basic thing of like being able to share a story with other people, because
Yeah.
a lot of people are struggling with these sorts of things. And yeah, it just feels good, I think, to think you're not alone, or that these things are actually happening, that they're real and they are affecting people, and we should be doing something about it. So yeah, I don't
Definitely.
remember what
Yeah.
question you asked, but I think we were talking about
No,
prison
no, we're
programs.
with you. We're with you, man. And for that very reason that you just explained, I hope that you do um get that USC grant, to help fund some of these stories.
Hmm.
Because even beyond the prison system, I'm more curious about what's going on in the community. Again, here on the show, we talked about all of the facilities that they're going to be building. I think I can think of offhand about 3 or 4 different buildings, different mental health facilities that are either
Hmm.
proposed or already on the way. And kind of as I mentioned to you when we were talking, what is there a system? What is that going to look like? Are these just going to be a
Yeah.
bunch of beds? Is there going to be some collaboration between these buildings? Will there be an actual system put together where, like you said, if there's one facility that offers a program that somebody needs, can they be transferred there? Like, will there be sharing of information, data?
Hmm.
What will this system look like? Will there actually be a system? And then furthermore, will there be anywhere for somebody who doesn't have a case? Like, again, your whole point about the connection between mental health and the justice system, again, even outside of the prisons, all of the facilities that are coming in the community, from what I'm hearing, most of
Yeah.
them you have to already have a case to get to get even recommended to get in them.
Yeah.
So
As
again.
some people are chiming in the chat, yeah, it's like it's a very, like, Nebraska has set it up to be a very complicated. I mean, a lot. It's complicated basically everywhere. There's no. I
Right,
don't think
right.
there's like a place that where like mental health is like the simplest issue to attack, but it's like there's so many different things. I mean, it's like ideally you would have a lot more programs in place so that you're being proactive and you're not like reacting when someone has come
Yeah.
in. And it's also, I mean, I think Amy just said this, but it's like access is a huge issue, like being told it's like okay. I mean, and there's like a lot of different levels to this. There's
Let me
you could
go
be
ahead. Let me
struggling.
go ahead. And,
Oh
let me
yeah,
go ahead and jump into the chat and so
sure.
everybody can know what there was being said. Miss Erica Felt, first of all, saying Nebraska has a pattern of enacting requirements with no way to fulfill them. Shake my head. They require insurance of in home child care when there was no insurance carriers, so they couldn't enforce for 2 years. That's
Mm,
interesting. Also, Ron Chapman is saying if you do a cost benefit analysis, prisons make more money via grants, etc. when inmates stay in prison longer.
man.
Something to consider. Amy H. Dot is
Mhm.
saying you have to look back at what has happened historically. Access is an issue, but also stigma and what the system has done to marginalize folks, black and native, and showing how things have changed. Okay. So interesting ideas here. We definitely are asking hypothetical questions now. What does
Hmm.
this look like? What resources are there out there? People with feet
Mhm.
on the ground like Senator McKinney, Senator Wayne are pushing for actual bills to be passed in order to do something about some of these things. We'll be talking about the parole board situation a little later on in the show that Brother McKinney really helped to light a fire under those guys because that's
Man.
we're talking about the full process here. So it's what's happening while
Mhm.
they're incarcerated, what's happening when they come out, um, and like you said, preventative. I think preventative is a very important thing to look at too. This I feel like everything that happens here is all reactive. There's
Mhm.
really not a lot of preventative anything going on.
Hmm.
So that's what it is. Wanda Lewis in the chat says they should be dealing with the prison's current existing issues before building new ones. No changes will result.
Yeah.
As we know from meeting with the senators on Fridays, that they are building all these new prisons, child prisons, actual prisons, and mental health facilities, with no real change in processes and procedures in anything that would help prevent people from getting there in the first place, which is kind of what we're talking about here. So
Mhm.
we appreciate the deep dive that you're doing on these issues and that you stick with them. We really can't get
Yeah.
any understanding unless you're doing what you're doing, which is continuing to write about it, continuing to deep dive into it and bringing out more points. So we appreciate that you're doing that for sure.
Mhm.
It's 8:12 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, if you're just joining us, we're talking to Chris Baby Boy Bowling from the Reader,
Hey.
who has been helping deep dive on a whole bunch of very important topics.
Mhm.
Before we move on to the next thing too, I want to go ahead and put this article in the chat as well. This is getting back to that talking about the situation when it comes to climate, because that's a big thing that's happening now. Uh,
Mhm.
earlier in the chat, earlier in the chat, they were asking. Let me see if I can find that again real quick. Oh, Von Chapman was asking for you to do this. Follow through on that coal plant by these
Mhm.
selected to do so is lacking any impetus that could stop LPPD from continuing to kick the can down the road that exposes the community to dangerous and ongoing health issues. So it definitely is something that's going on in our community that we want to know about, and we're glad that the Reader is now tackling some of these climate issues, and really the ones close to home. I'm glad you brought it up because you brought it up here first today
Mhm.
about the watchdogging that being a part of what's going on with this coal plant situation, and I think everybody is really concerned about that. So. Um,
Mhm.
I'm glad that
Yeah.
part of what you guys are doing can cover some of that. Any more insights on those pieces? What's
Uh,
next that we can go help or speak to or show
sure.
up to?
Yeah, I mean, with the coal plant, there's nothing is set in stone right now. It's kind of figuring out what is the next story because it's been written about a decent amount. I knew that they were going to put in the air quality monitors, but I didn't know exactly when. And then I saw the Examiner story that they had put them in, and so kind of missed the boat on that. So it's kind of just like trying to find. Um, what is the next like new thing to write about with it, because it's a big issue that we are we're definitely thinking about and concerned about. But yeah, some extra help this summer. We're actually going to have a Central High journalism student who's extremely talented, who is going to be joining us, and she's going to be on some different things. So there's probably an opportunity for her there. So, um, yeah, basically the short answer though is we don't have anything set in stone right now, but I mean it's definitely like up there near the top of like what we're concerned about. It's just finding like, is there research that hasn't been published yet? Is there anything new? Are there people whose stories haven't been heard? Something to add to the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this question too. I know that the documenters program, we're trying to gear up to keep watch on what OPPD was doing. Any information coming from documenters yet that you're able to use?
Uh, they've been covering OPPD meetings, but I don't know if the North Oak coal plant has come up a whole lot in their meetings. I have to check about that, but there's definitely they've definitely been covering the OPPD meetings.
Yeah. So, and again, for those who don't know, the Documenters program is a group of journalists that go and sit at these meetings and just basically document what's being said. So so just you saying that there's not a lot being talked about in these meetings, and we know that for a fact because documenters are documenting what's being talked about. That lets us know what's going on there too. So. And documenters are just documenting, so they're not going to be there advocating, which means that it would take us to go and bring it up in these meetings in order for them to
Mm-hmm.
get to talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Von Chapman has a very great question that we need to always be asking: who can or should be initiating litigation against OPPD for damages to the community? I think litigation is a big part of what needs to be happening for, even if it's you are planning on bringing suit. There's a certain amount of background research, studying, and things that are going to go into these things, and facts that we need to pull out and find in order to be able to litigate.
Mm-hmm.
That will help us out too, just knowing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Wanda Lewis is saying, were you able to acquire additional information on results, the quality of drinking water for the Omaha metropolitan area? Last heard they refused to release statistical findings. You running you running into roadblocks when it comes to trying to find stats on the state of the health.
Um, I haven't really. That's not been a thing that I have really tried to get. It's part of. There's a bigger story that I'm kind of working on where I do want to get that. I just haven't had the time to try to hunt that down and find out who would have that. It's kind of, yeah. There's different organizations that have it, and it's not like they have a thing that says like. I mean, I think there probably is like, oh, drinking water in Omaha is good, but there's also like water quality things of like, hey, what about this lake? What about this stream? Like, it's yeah, it's
Mm.
complicated.
Brianna Full has a little bit of information. She says the OPPD board put out a resolution last year that said they would put together a plan to address the inequities in North Omaha from the power plant. Still waiting for that plan.
Yeah, plan to make a plan. Very promising.
And a plan to do a study to make a plan to do a study to make a
Yeah,
plan.
that's just such a
Yeah.
typical thing in Omaha, but
Yep.
Well, we
More
mean,
appreciate
weight.
we
yeah.
appreciate you guys watchdogging this, man. I felt I often have to reiterate the importance of journalism because
Yeah,
people
man.
don't understand why we're on here talking in the first place. They're trying to keep track of any of these things,
Mhm.
and it's super important because they'll run off and just do whatever they want to do, man. If ain't nobody watching them and calling them out,
Yeah.
and also doing the research to match them up against the laws that they are breaking or not breaking. So
Mhm.
really appreciate your efforts. I say it all the time. Being a journalist is one of the most gangster things you can be right now because there's kind of a war on us, war
Yeah.
on journalism, and
Mhm.
people that are asking questions. You already are going to get pushback just because you're asking the questions, but now they're trying to like actively stop you from finding out things sometimes. So
Mhm.
so just appreciate the work that you're doing and the work that everybody at the Reader is doing. I'm glad that things are continuing on the way that they are. We consider you guys are one of our most important partners. So
Mhm.
and just yeah, man, keep on checking with us here. As you can see, you can jump into the chat and find out what the people here are trying to find out about, and we appreciate that you do that.
Yeah.
So So everybody hit him up if you got ideas on stories. If you got information, you can see what kind of information he's looking for. You can what's your email address? We can.
I was just putting it in the private chat for you guys to share. But yeah, chris@thereader.com is my email. My Twitter is @ChrisMBowling. So yeah, if you guys ever want to, email me or just chat about stories, I'm totally down to do that. I've been thinking about maybe if there is something new that we can talk about around the North Oak coal plant, it might be a good opportunity for us and definitely some people in the chat too to try to organize like a community event to talk about. I mean, like Brianna's saying, like where is that plan? All these different things. I mean, kind of have to do it in a way of where it's not just like direct advocacy, but like there's some sort of element of information about it.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, there's a lot of people already in this space, as people have talked about with Preston Love, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes, and so it's kind of hard. Just trying to figure out what to do.
Let me handle the chat. You just worry about what you're talking about, baby
Okay,
boy.
that sounds good.
Appreciate you, man. I do like this idea though. I mean, there's not enough. Whoever's throwing meetings, we can always throw more. We can always have more town halls, more discussion.
Mm-hmm.
In order to, until we get some things done. I'd love to quit talking if something can get solved. That would be great.
Right. That part.
Mm-hmm.
I can go back to making music or doing something else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I hear you.
let's get with it. But we're gonna let you go, man. We got another guest waiting in the wings. But thank you very much for coming, and let's have you back on a little bit more regularly. Season 6 coming up for sure. And keep these lines of communication open, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys.
No problem. Thanks.
All right, see ya.
We'll take a quick break and come right back. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Stay tuned for Andrea Joy Pearson, one of my favorite people coming up.
Hey.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. Man, it's going down. Chad Chimers, Ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thanks for everybody joining in. Von Chapman says representation. Von Chapman is saying coal plant people aren't going to do anything without pressure from litigation. I'm finding myself agreeing with that. They have already proven that having meeting after meeting after meeting doesn't work to keep kicking the can down the road. And in order to stop kicking that can, might have to sue. It is what it is. More discussion on that. Jump into the chat and check that out. But in the meantime, between time, we're going to jump to our next special guest in the house. It is 8:23 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. And it's time for Andrea Joy Pearson to join us. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, and I feel like I jumped into the chat right on time as people were talking about how can we get activated, how can we be about that life, how can we start creating change in real time, right? And I think of myself as a nowist, and I practice nowism. How can we get into it right now? I want to be about that action right now. Let's get into it today. That's right.
Hey, that's the only time we believe in. No one concept.
Period. That's it. It's the now.
No time,
right?
No time like the now. No time like the now.
I do a lot of conceptualization about like what's your relationship with time, right? So there's one conversation of what is time, right? And then once you have that down, right? And some people say it's a construct, and right. But then you have, what's your relationship with that construct? What's your relationship with that motion? What's your relationship with that movement, right? And then you can start to say, how am I creating change over what I've delineated as time?
There you go.
See, now
There you
you on the
go.
right show. You on the right show. That's all I gotta say
Breaking it
about that.
down, breaking it
You on the
down.
right show.
Speaking of time, last time we spoke, again, we were preparing for celebrating the life, the legacy of Brother Malcolm X,
That's right.
aka El Haj Malik El Shabazz.
That's right.
Since that time, there has been some things. So just let us catch up with you. How you been?
Yeah.
How you been? How's your time in Omaha? How are things going?
Well, my time in Omaha has been really good overall. Very interesting. Very
Okay.
interesting. This is an interesting city.
It
There's
is.
lots of great things about it. There's lots of growth that is very possible here, and I think it's a space where transformation can thrive if the people will let it. Right.
That part.
And in that, so yeah, last time I was here, I was talking about Malcolm X, the opera that was coming. Since then, I've actually started my own consultancy. It's called Joy Brings Light. It's a multidisciplinary consultancy firm where we talk about DEI, or diversity, equity, inclusion, in a different way. I say it is founded in action and fueled by joy, right? Like, so
Okay.
how are we actually creating change? I'm an artivist. Right, I'm a futurist and an artivist put together. Right, so an artivist. Oh, come on, you better already have me ready. Is an arts activist, right? Put into one. So how are we using what it is that we're doing for a form of activism of what it is that we want to go for? And my thing is, I want people to really be their fullest and most whole selves. Right? I say beyond any title I could ever hold, it is really, I'm here to help myself and others walk in our power and utilize our space to create lives that we enjoy. And so that is always my mission in every space that you see me in. And if you are here in town in Omaha, you do see me around town. I do stay out in these streets. And in that, that's what it's really about. Right. I like to get involved in things. I like to support people to say, how are we creating lives that we enjoy today?
It's the Tao of now. I love it.
I love that.
Listen, tell us. I want to hear more about your business. Before we get into, I'm going to be asking you about your departure from Omaha, from Opera Omaha. But
Sure.
before we get to that, it's more important for me right now to know about what it is that you're doing now. This is the Tao of now for us. So tell us a little bit more about your business and what that does, and who have you been working with so far, and what difference you feel like this is making or going to make, if you will.
Well, okay. So you heard me say multidisciplinary is because my background is extremely wide. So in that, I do speaking, facilitation, I do training, I do strategic planning. I am a performance coach, right? How are you in high performance? Sustainably, right? As a person or as a team, I like to say I'm a dream builder. So it's like, what vision do you have? And I'm here to help you kind of get it done. I have a background in creative production and direction. I love recruiting creatives for projects, kind of everything under the sun. Who have I worked with? Lots of people just in a couple of months. I'll name a couple of things that I've done that are maybe a little notable the last couple of months. For example, I had 4 months in a row that I had some kind of national attention or visibility, first as a creative producer, then as a speaker, and my stuff kind of got shared globally. That was really cool.
Nice.
Then I am a belonging and inclusion strategist, so I got in a magazine for that, so that was cool. Then I co-hosted the Racial Justice Opera Forum for Opera America, so I also host, right? So I do lots of things. I like to say, how can we be the most actualized version of ourselves, right? And for me to lead that charge, I think it's necessary for me to do that and show that. And so here in town, I had a couple of events that I've done. I try to do an event every month. So if you're someone who's like, Omaha, like we don't have that much to do, or like I want to get involved, or I want to find community, or I want to find friends, check out my stuff at Joy Brings Light. I try to make sure to do something public every month, right? Okay. So in February and March, I did a thing called Sound and Serenity. that was a mixture of how do we have a cool vibe. I say I create sound baths for the culture, right? So how do we create a cool vibe where we are being more intentional about the sound that we're taking in, right?
God.
So the first part of it is you getting to hear a local artist, and it's more like almost like a chill concert style experience, but generally acoustic, where you're able to say like, this is the way I'm used to hearing sound. I'm used to kind of vibing. And then it's like, let's go back another gear. And then I lead a sound bath where I say, you can lay down, you can close your eyes, you can sit back, you can put on an eye mask, whatever it is that you need. And I play sound bowls and different sound healing instruments to say, what does it feel like when you raise your level of awareness of the sound that's happening around you all the time, while letting it also be a full vibe. You get in your peace, you get in your restoration, you get in your elevation, all at the exact same time. And it's sold out. It's sold out like this.
I bet it did, because see you already got me on this one right here. This is something that I'm always trying to preach about, sound pollution, and how it is that sound works and what it does to your your ability to concentrate, your vibe. As a musician, I grew up listening to every single instrument and everything that happens in a song, which has created this sense of harmony in my head. So when I'm hearing a bunch of people, so this is why it irritates me when people talk over each other, because they're not harmonizing when they do that. They're out of rhythm with each other when they do that. They're not doing like jazz artists do with saying something, being quiet, handing the phrase off to somebody else, and you understanding what's going on in this linear motion. So because I'm so attuned to that, I've had to do a whole lot to try to figure out how to tune out certain things, how to have quiet time for myself. So it's so super important, and I'm so glad that you're doing something that is bringing this kind of awareness to people about this, just that particular subject alone. I'm getting very excited about what's going on there. As far as your DEI work is concerned, DEIA, Wanda Lewis is asking, do you work with the city of Omaha for DEI programs, or are you just independent?
No, I'm fully independent. The city can work with me if they want to, but they better be ready to be about that life. Okay. I'm fully independent. So if you want to pass my name to someone, please feel free. I just did some stuff recently with the Urban League of Nebraska. That was probably my foray into the more like governmental city style side of it. But I like to say, if you want to work with me, I will do my best to work with you. Right. And I will do my best to meet you where you're at and say, how do we create something where it feels like you can tell you're moving forward? And if people were onlookers, they too could see that you're moving forward. An example I'll give you is, I like to say, how can we make DEI more fun, more accessible, something that really does put community in the forefront. So just last month, I did an event for Chevalier. I joined in with KVNO and Afros, Capes, and Curls, and said, how do we showcase this film that's coming out? It's called Chevalier, and it was about Joseph Bologna, right, who was Chevalier de Saint Georges. He was an enslaved man, right, when he was born, and went on to become a famed and prominent virtuosic violinist and composer and swordsman and marksman and boxer and activist and soldier. Had a hand in starting the French Revolution, led the first Black regiment in France ever. I mean, just an amazing, amazing person. And in this, we did an elevated movie premiere at Film Streams, right, here in Dundee. And my events generally sell out. So this was another one that sold out, and found out it was the first time they had sold out in years, right? And so here we are learning about some Black history in a way that feels elevated, in a way that feels fun, in a way that is happening in community. Because even after we had the movie, we had live violinists in the space. We had some different people from around town who kind of represented parts of his life if you wanted to get more involved. But we also had a panel at the end to talk about what it was that we had just seen, to say, what is the relevancy of this right now, and how can we use this in our lives today, right?
Beautiful.
Yes. Interesting that you mentioned this one particular thing. First of all, you better get yourself over to the Benson Theater, number one, with your events, especially something like that, because what I've been hearing lately from friends of mine that have since left Film Stream, saying that they have a little bit of problem with the diversity situation over there. There wasn't any kind of stuff that happened as far as showing films about Black history and stuff like that since for a few years. So I'm glad that you were able to bring one to there, and it sold out and successfully, and so on and so forth. But this is kind of leaning towards the things that I'm trying to talk about here today, which is we have to kind of acknowledge what is happening here, especially now that you're in this space, this DEIA space.
That's where I've always been. That's where I've always been.
Well,
right?
you're there independently more now.
Yeah.
Because of the pushback that's been happening.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Okay, a lot of, and we've been reporting on a lot of leaders in our community, a lot of Black leaders in our community, especially Black men that have been disappearing from these positions of power. And also we have a lot to say about how DEIA is being rolled out in the state, in certain businesses around.
Yeah.
Michelle Troxclair, who is now the DEIA specialist for the Benson Theater, is really vocal about this. Somebody who you ought to really connect with. She is really vocal about how they might hire a DEIA specialist in their company, and it's like, in order to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be more diversity and so on and so forth in that business. And then they mysteriously they don't have that job anymore. This all started with us all the way back in the Mind and Soul days when Brother Sharif Lararu got fired from OPS, which was he was in there to bring some diversity there. And when he tried to do his job, they didn't like that. And we've been, and that put it on our radar. We've been talking about it ever since. Now, I talked to somebody the other night who told me that you are no longer with Opera Omaha. I just did a show. Opera Omaha just came to Benson Theater and did something last night.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
And so when I found out Saturday night you wasn't there no more, I was kind of like a little mouth twisted up with them yesterday when I was like, what? Let me find out the story before I get too mad at everybody. So I'm saying all this because I want you to speak on your experience since you've been here.
Yeah.
We all remember you we all know that you're from Atlanta. That's right.
Yeah.
And you've been here now how long?
A little under 2 years.
A little under 2 years. You came here. You were full of fire. I remember you lit a fire.
I'm still full of fire. That's right.
Look,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm talking about, but for Opera Omaha, I remember like you got a whole lot of us to go check out the opera.
100%. 100%.
I mean, it was also because they were talking about the life and times of Malcolm X, but it was like they had the best person in you to go and tell us all, get there, pay attention to it. This is the artistry, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Now. What's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, well, the first things first, it's important to know that I came up here for this position. And a lot of reason that I came up here for this position was because the life and times of Malcolm X was going to be happening. And you heard me say I'm an artivist, right? Mm-hmm. I am very serious about how are we looking at Black history? How are we elevating Black history? How are we elevating the history of a lot of people who have been othered over time, right? How are we telling new stories? How are we reigniting and re-envisioning what the possibilities of something could be? And that's what that opera was for me. And I still am extremely passionate about that. Malcolm X being from here was one of the biggest reasons why I came to Omaha. And I'm still leaning into that. And actually, just later this month, I did a digital piece. That was one of my last pieces that I did with Opera Omaha called Oh, Malcolm, You Hopeful Song. In that piece, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's absolutely amazing. It mixes poetry and dance, and it's Malcolm. It's reimagining Malcolm X's mother speaking to him, if she could speak to him. And in that, that made its way to Ilyasah Shabazz, who is Malcolm X's daughter, and it's now sitting on her personal page. And I'm actually going to meet her in about a week and a half. So, like, I'm very much still about that life. I very much still am in that fire. I kind of am that girl. Okay, so if you don't know about me now, you know. Okay, go ahead and make a check that you just met a fire queen this morning. Okay,
there you go.
And in that life, you know, what went wrong? Here's what I'll say is it's not an isolated event. I think you just kind of said it for me, right? Where sometimes companies will bring in people in terms of wanting to do DEI. And there is just in general, right? I mean broad, because I work with a lot of companies. I was doing this before I came here. And there will be a desire for this change without actually having the desire for the change, right? So it's the desire to speak about the change without wanting to be about that action, right? So you heard me say what's different about my consultancy is I want action. I want results. If you're not looking for action, then you probably don't want me around. Right. And in that space, I said, I just need to separate myself because I think I can make a bigger impact going broader. Number one, I talk about DEI in a different way. I talk about how you can tie it into what it is that you're doing in real time. I don't really care about what you're doing in 5. I mean, I care about how things are going for you in 5 years, but I want to talk about what are we doing next month, right? Like what are we in? What's your programming like? Who's inside of your power structures, right? Who's making decisions? Who has the ability to affect the culture and how? Like not just, oh, it's everybody's job. Can you tell me how each of these levels are able to enact change and impact? And what are the journeys that you've created for the employee experience, for the audience experience? And can I get some examples of when somebody said something, brought something to your attention, complained about something, and there was actual change that was behind that? And then with that change, how did you communicate that change effectively to the interested parties, right? There is a design to all of this, right? And if you are not about that design life, it can be stressful and harmful for the designer. That's what I'll say, right? I'm a designer, I design. If you don't want a space to be designed, you probably don't want me in it.
There you go.
Right? And you have to be, I want to say this for the DEI leaders out here. And you have to know when to say, I can do something else and I can enact change in another way. You don't have to just stay in a position where they actually may not want the changes that you're bringing. They may not want how you're restructuring, because I think somebody just wrote it in the side. DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. You'll sometimes see it with accessibility as well. You have to know how valuable you are. You have to know how competent you are. Stay confident in your skill set. The world needs you right now. Things are not just getting better just by happenstance. It's going to take us having to intentionally do the work. And there are loads of people in Omaha who want to do the work. So if you're in a space that doesn't want to do the work.
Right. I got to say, and add on there, and don't be fooled by these positions. These positions are, I think people get caught up in the fact that they think, oh, I'm gonna get a check and I'm gonna do some good, but they seem to be placeholders. They seem to be, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, in the chat, somebody is saying, let's see, I'll just go down the chat because there's some things in there I wanted to bring out anyway. Gwen Easter says, first of all, I love this young lady's knowledge, encouragement, motivation, positive energy, and action. I'm going to act like Gwen Easter's telling you that. So there you go. Also, Tony Johnson says DEI is a box check, just like affirmative action was, sad, watered down. This is how a lot of us are feeling about this particular position. It seems to be a placeholder. If they just hire a DEI agent, they've done something for DEI. So,
and that's not it. You just started your journey. You really have not really done anything, right? Like at that point, a lot of times people pat themselves on the back way too early. And what I want to say to everybody writing on the side and everyone listening is, you don't leave this stuff just to a chat room, right? Be willing to say this stuff, right? Like I am a advocate of honesty, vulnerability, and bravery, right? You got to showcase that in real time because we are the people. Every company is run by people.
Right. So
we have to think of that.
So you're I just want to let you know, you're talking to Chad Chimers. So you're speaking to the choir, number one. This is not your regular chat. These are people of action right here that you're talking to on that. So just remember that too when you are talking to these folks right here. We're all trying to talk to each other as if we're face to face talking to each other. So that is something that we require from our chat chimers and we require from ourselves and our guests because that's where action comes from. That actual conversation will get us moving in the right direction. Amy H. Dot says it will change when DEI positions actually hold some kind of power, which like we're saying, we're not feeling like they are. We're feeling like they're placeholders now. People. I used to be happy when somebody got a position in some big company or in the government or somewhere that now I was like, okay, well, now there might be some diversity there. But when that thing with Brother Sharif Lararu happened, who was president of the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation at the time, when that happened over at Omaha Public Schools. it took that idea out of my head. Like, now I feel real skeptical if somebody gets that job, because that just means that they're going to get a check. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make any changes, because
Tokenism.
because now I feel tokenism. They're bringing them in order to say they've done something about DEI, and nothing's really popping. Also, Von Chapman says, because many DEI are hired just for window dressing to look the part, but not allowed to get the real job done. We're all feeling this way. Tony Johnson 12 says Opera Omaha needed that photo op and narrative for fundraising. Is that I'm feeling that too. Okay, I'm reading your face. That's okay. Got it.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this. Let me say this.
Yeah.
Omaha has been, you heard me say it's an interesting place. This is, it's not just isolated to one company. I want to point that out. I'm trying to think how to say this. I am very good at what I do. Okay. I will point this out. And I don't even mean it in a braggadocious way. I just mean you can check the facts. Right. And this is one of the first places that I have met a sense of ire when it goes right, when it goes well, when it's successful. I mean, because I will point out, like you said, you were able to bring a lot of people out, right? That surprised me, right? Because again, there are amazing DEI advocates in these spaces and places. The people that get put in these positions are not generally people who have no experience in this, don't understand how to move and shape change, right? So like really give some love. Like I understand that the company may have put them there for whatever reason, right? But show some love to the people in your life and in your sphere that are in the spaces of DEI, because it is a very hard mantle and heavy mantle to carry, right? Because even when you have the other advocates who are thinking that this is a placeholder, you also have the people who got the straight vitriol coming from the other side. So show some love for your advocates who are trying to do the work to create healthier spaces and more robust spaces, because it is not an easy space to be in.
It's the only job. It's the only job you can have that if you're successful, you might get fired.
Well, yes. I mean, with that said, quick shout out to Jakeem Fox and Michelle Choxclair, two other, people in the Omaha area working in that space.
Also having to do it independently, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, but to that point, I did want to, dig more into something that you said as far as the ire of success. I mean, again, you had us all excited about going to the opera. You had us all interested in opera. People who have never even, had 2 seconds to think about opera, were considering going. You created that change, and that was definitely you and your energy. So with that said, what was the response from Opera Omaha to that specifically when they saw again that change?
To my knowledge, I do not recall one.
So they didn't acknowledge it, or it just man, they brought you in, you sold the tickets, they got the bag, and that was it.
I did way more than just that opera, right? I did loads of things in that. One of the things that I did is I built a successful program called Amplifying the Black Experience. And the digital piece that I just mentioned a moment ago was one of the pieces from that. And it was really talking about how are we building a greater level of sustainability in the arts? How are we showcasing what opera can be today? And how are we making it more relevant to the audiences and the communities that we're serving? And so, the Life and Times of Malcolm X was simply an extension of that. And then also, I was a director of belonging and inclusion. So how are we creating a healthier workplace, right? What is the employee experience like? In the day-to-day, and how is it something that feels more, not just diverse, but more equitable, more inclusive, and more accessible in what it is we're doing, and how are we going about policy changes that we're doing? So there was just loads of things that were even behind the scenes, but my in front of the scenes was pretty fire.
You know what? I gotta say, you're making me think about that too, because like I said, I'm starting to get a little skeptical of somebody that takes that job at these white organizations in particular, that we kind of are feeling like are placeholders now. But I will say, none of them have really just put some kind of placeholder cat in there. They've always made a hire that seems to be like right on money though. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's something to it. I think these businesses are even like, all these good intentions, and we're going to bring this person in. It's going to be great. And then that person comes in and says, "Where the black people at?" And then they go, Oh yeah, well you're it, and
Yeah.
You were the diversity, not
Yeah, yeah,
not.
100%, and that's why you heard me say, really be supportive
yeah,
of
be
the people that are
supportive.
there, because the people that are there are generally the people who want to be there, right? Who care about it. It's not a field that you get into if you don't have a passion for it.
Right.
Because you heard me say it's so heavy, right? It's a space you get into because you want to see change in society.
Word up.
Right, a business is just like the microcosm of society, right? It's just like a smaller ecosystem, right? And so these are advocates that don't just advocate in their workplace. You also, like you said, the person that you were talking about a moment ago, they were also at the Malcolm X Foundation, right? These are people
Right.
who are advocates in their lives, and they're
President of
choosing
this,
to
right.
align it with the work that they do, in that linear fashion, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so in that, support them, be willing to speak out, like, right? And so anyone in the chat, I want you to know that thank you first for speaking up and speaking your voice in the chat. And right, and when you see those people and they bring up something at your companies, say, I think that's a great idea. I would be open to trying that. Yeah, I'd be willing to see what we can do with that. What happened with that last idea that you had, right? Like calling it out in real time, because those people are in a difficult spot.
There ain't no Rudy Poots in that spot, bro. I will say I don't know one person that's been in that spot that is just there being a token.
Yeah.
And they got skills, they got experience, and then something happens, and they wind up having to go and do this thing independently. We're coming down to the last 10 minutes of the show. We're all about the Tao of now. We do not believe in the concept of time. We're all about time for some action, just a fraction of friction on down. I got the
time for
lyrics
some
to
action.
interference. Dewan Lomond Hayes in the chat, bro. I ain't heard that name in a minute.
Hey,
Coming on through, he says, so glad to see Andrea Joy. Thank you speaking with such fire. Omaha is a very strange place that is desperately holding on to vestiges of its racist and violent past to maintain power. Quote,
quote
unquote.
unquote.
Pushing out or ignoring DEIA specialists feels like a threat. Bro, I fully agree. I mean, once again, you've eloquently put that exactly how it is that we're thinking and feeling. Really, really appreciate that. Brother Knight in the chat says these white folks serious about practicing their white supremacy and losing messing with. Yeah, I heard that, losing that part. That woman says that's what most of us do. Most of us are active on and offline. Just reminding you about where we're at.
Come on, you better remind me. You better remind me.
I don't blame you because most chats are where people just come and dump their ideas and bounce and leave. We've sculpted this chat to be very different. This is a family. We look out for each other like family around here. We talk to each other in the chat as if we're talking in person to each other, and we get together on the side to create action.
I want to get together on the side. Y'all let me know when it's happening.
We're gonna talk about some partnership stuff going on for sure. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah. I love it. When you were talking earlier about being in that space and your front game being strong at Opera Omaha. You flashed me back to when we talked the first time you were on, talking about how you sing opera. You're not just in here to shake up the diversity part, but that's when I was thinking. I was like, there ain't no Rudy Poots in these spaces, bro. Like she's not the perfect person for Opera Omaha to bring on as DEIA.
I have a background in HR, right? So
nobody more qualified.
Yeah, I was a real unicorn.
Right. So again, this is the only position right now in certain sort of organizations that if you do your job and do it well, you can get asked to leave. So and with that,
like, hold on,
or you can choose to leave. I chose to leave, right?
Or
you can choose to leave because you can say, like, that's what you heard me saying before. We're to the point that we're not just placeholders, right? All of us on this line, we are not just placeholders. We are not here to be tokenized. We are not here to be villainized in any capacity, right? We're not here to be taken advantage of. We deserve to be treated with the utmost respect. We deserve to be supported. We deserve to be celebrated. And if someone's not willing to do that for you, in any relationship in your life, in any space you may find yourself in, if people are not willing to respect you, to honor you, to give you dignity as you move through this thing, you don't have to wait for them to do anything. You can take the power and make a choice because you deserve to live well.
There you go.
Boom.
Right? We cannot keep asking for dignity. We cannot keep saying, humanize us. We're people too. At some point, You have to say, I'm a person. I know I'm a person, and I don't have to try to keep telling you I'm a person. I'm going to go and hang out with people who already know I'm a person so that I can get to level 5 and level 6, because staying on level 1 and 2 over and over is just me lowering my own capacity.
There you go. You want to be treated like a person? Come to First Sky. Come to First Sky.
Hey,
People dancing all in your video. Come to First Sky.
that's Stuart.
Yo, tell us about this. Mindful Mondays. What's happening?
Absolutely. So you heard me just saying, right? How do we treat ourselves well? 1. And 2, how are we creating a life that we enjoy right now? Yes, there's all the stuff going on back here, but what does your future look like? What does your present look like? Mindful Mondays is a space where I've partnered with Millwork Commons for Mental Health Awareness Month. We are doing this because we care. It's a space for you to relax, to unwind. It's a sound bath series that's happening for 3 weeks in a row. The last one is going to be postponed until June just because Memorial Day, but happening 3 weeks in a row starting tonight. Tonight is going to be deep meditation, so it's primarily going to be sound bowls. Come, unwind, relax, elevate, get into some meditation, think about nothing and just lay. It's really up to you to have a journey that you want. Next week is going to be family focused, so you can bring 5 and up. Y'all have a good time with your family. Let's get together as a community and reset and rebalance ourselves. And then on that 3rd week, it's going to be me and Tracy. It's going to be 2 sound healing practitioners in the space. We're really going to have it nice and loud in there, so you're going to really feel it ringing around you. And this is another Black practitioner, by the way, because I am trying to be that change that I want to see, right? I want to showcase that Black people also have always been in the sound healing space, and I can showcase that in real time, right? You heard me say sound baths for the culture. I do it a little bit differently. It's something that's really chill. If you've never been to a sound bath before, that's fine, because mine are going to be different anyway. And the idea is that you could walk in off the street, have a good time, and feel that vibe and go on that ride, right? Where you're just raising your level of awareness about the sound that's around you.
I got immersed in this when the years that I lived in Hawaii. I knew a couple of people quartz bowls and got down, so we get it.
Yeah.
I got one thing to say to you though. You better come on back to look. You and Benson Theater better get it together. All these other places that you're going all around town, we need you over there. So come on through. You know who to talk to.
Yeah,
let's make it happen. We need some of this. Can you imagine those bowls in that space? Come on.
I would love to. That I'm on the board. So in that, like, introduce that conversation, right? I try to keep it real chill. You heard me say, if you want to work with me, I want to work with you. I often wait till people come to me. And the fact that I have been so fortunate that so many people keep coming to me is because they know I got the juice, right? Like, so please connect me in. I'm already connected, but connect me in that way. I would love to do a sound bath in that space. And tonight's sound bath and next week's sound bath and the next week's sound bath, completely free. Y'all, sound bath tickets are generally lowest price, $35 a person, going up to about $65 a person. This is completely free just for you. I wanted to do something for this community. I care about you. I want you to be great. But not only that, I want you to feel great.
Come on,
there
now.
You go.
Here's the contrast. This woman will talk and turn your head into something else, and then she gets quiet and rocks the bowls. And the contrast, I'm sure, is jarring even. So I love it.
There you go.
We literally got 3 minutes left in the show. We're gonna have to let you go, but thank you so much for coming on. We will absolutely have you back again. Let's do lunch. Let's talk about some partnerships and some shows and some things like that at Benson Theater and beyond. So we'll make it happen. Thank you so much for coming on. I told y'all, Andrea Joy Pearson is one of my favorite people on earth right now.
It's powerful.
Check me out on Instagram at Joy Brings Light.
Joy Brings Light.
There you go.
Peace.
Also might want to reach out to the Omaha Center for Holistic Health.
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and jot that down. If you got to connect, hit me up offline and let's make it happen.
We'll do. Thank you.
And that goes for everybody in the chat, since y'all be about that life, okay? Come on and be about that life with me, all right?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Get a sound back, y'all.
Yeah, 5:30 today at Millwork Commons.
Yep. Peace. There it is, Andrea Joy Pearson. Wow.
Man, powerful.
I'm glad that we had it back on. I'm glad that we got some things straight. I'm glad we got to talk about a couple of things that are happening. And thank you all for your questions and comments in the chat as well. Appreciate you engaging with her. If you missed any part of that interview, you can always go back to Facebook, YouTube, check it out in its entirety, read the chat, because it's going down, and I think I love it when we all are kind of figure out we're on the same page, thinking the kind of same thing, man. These DEI positions. Whew. And I'm glad she said that straight, because the first place my mind was going was, okay, well, if this is just a check and you ain't going to make no change when you're in there, you got to know when you're going in there, you about to make a check. So maybe you one of these placeholder cats in here with that. She set me straight on that. And she's right. I don't know no placeholder cats that are in those positions. All I know is companies that hire the right people, see some success, and then all of a sudden don't want the change.
It's not working. Got a little too much dip on your chip.
Man. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We got 1 minute left to the show, but thank you very much. The only haps, we do have some haps, but I'll just keep on pushing this hap right here since we just had our guest on.
Get
Shout
down.
out to Andrea Joy Pearson for coming on this morning. Shout out to Chris Bowling, Baby Boy Bowling from The Reader, coming on this morning as well. But yes, definitely check out Mindful Mondays, man. Free admission on this. She's right about that $35 to $65 an hour to experience these things here. So this is free. If this is the first time that it's a good time if it's your first time witnessing the healing sounds and bowls and so on, man. Very meditative, very cool. Something to do along with some of these kind of like sober socials and stuff like that that's happening right now from the chat chimers shout out to Lucia who's doing sober socials. I like ideas of going somewhere where you can get in another state of mind without having to imbibe all the time. So shout out to that. And that's what this is all about too. Help you with your meditation. Sound Bath series with Andrea Joy. RSVP now. Check it out at the Millworks Commons tonight at 5:30. It's only an hour. Go check it out.
Man, I mean, this is mental health right here. This is definitely meditation all the way. This is, releasing bad vibes, releasing bad energy, just kind of letting you, relax, regenerate. So definitely check her out, man. Big shout out to all the natural healers out there.
There you go. Buddy, what you got for the people?
Man, like you said, big shout out to our guest, Miss Andrea Joy Pearson, bringing us some joy, and Baby Boy.
Mayor Sanchez is a nut.
What I miss? He
said, we have a few bowls we play with at the house.
Oh God. The mayor, man. Of course, shout out to all of you, the chat chimers, man. We definitely appreciate y'all. The show would not be the same without you. So definitely thank you for bringing your questions and comments to the show. Of course, for those of you who did not get the opportunity to get your questions asked or answered, we apologize, but we do appreciate you. Of course, we did not get to everything, but of course, we urge everyone to go back through the chat and check out all the information. A lot of good input from our chat chimers, man. So we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. And without further ado, Paul B, take it away.
Man, we will be jumping into Brother McKinney, Senator McKinney, put some respect on his name, his whole push to get the parole board to act right and put the fire under them. We appreciate you. I know that you guys have been wanting to talk about that. I saw it in the chat earlier. We will pick that up and talk about that on Wednesday as well. And then, of course, get the word from him on Friday when Brother Senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne come and grace us with their presence on the show. Appreciate them very much. And I appreciate all of you. Pop says, wow, another great one. What a way to start the week. See you all on Wednesday, and love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. Miss Erica Fell says, wonderful, diverse show. Glad to be able to catch it. Do something that makes you proud of yourself today. Check your health, direct your wealth, and drink your water. I'm thankful for y'all. We're thankful for you too. We really appreciate you you joining us and contributing the way that you do. Love the chat chimers. You guys are dope. Really, really appreciate everybody coming on in and all that good stuff. Tony Johnson 12 says, only healing I'm interested in is putting all these placeholders and installing community leaders on a bus to Wyoming. I saw a weird documentary about Wyoming. Wyoming has the most space in the world as far as a ratio of people, which is a real trip. So there's plenty of space in Wyoming for them to go. Oh, yeah. Appreciate you. Sarah Fell says, best show in Omaha. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sarah Fell says, y'all funny.
Y'all trip.
Shout out to the Umaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And thanks to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. It's always a great conversation, and we really appreciate you guys contributing and being the kind of people in the chat that is different from every other chat on earth, as far as I'm concerned, because we're here speaking respectfully to each other as if we're face to face, and we're speaking in ways that will generate some action, which is what we're all about here as well. So thank you very much for that. Also, shout out to the reoccurring members of the channel. $10 people, the $25 people, the $50 people a month. Appreciate it. This helps us keep this going. If you're so inclined, go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button. Also, people who are just putting random donations in too. There's a couple of people that we want to shout out and talk to even personally that are dropping us some nice contributions here or there when they can, and it's really, really appreciated. And we're trying to do more and better at acknowledging all the people that are causing this to keep existing. So appreciate that very much. Yeah, perks and things coming soon. So thank you very much. We're going to get out of here and join us Wednesday when we will have Precious McKesson and Kimra Snipes, two leaders in our community that have some words of wisdom. I can't wait to talk to her about what just went down with Megan Hunt and leaving the Democratic Party. We got some things to talk about on Wednesday, so stay there, stay cool. Join Friends of First Sky Omaha group and drop some articles in there about things that we want to talk about. Remember, even there, we're going to talk to each other with respect as if we're talking face to face. And it's not a place to drop your ideologies and things like that. It's a place for us to have some conversation that will lead to some action. So appreciate you guys doing that as well. Brother Valadares, I'm glad you're back. Come on back. Let us know how you are. We'll be talking. And tell a friend. Tell a friend this is going on. As many people as we can you think would benefit from this and that can contribute as well. Let them know that we're here, and let's all talk and have a good time and get to some action. So with that said, we're going to get out of here. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in, buddy. You have a great day as well. Take it easy this week, and we'll see everybody Wednesday.
Peace.
I wasn't ready. I'm ready now.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red